Hello and welcome to Car Dealer Live. My name is James Batchelor and thank you very much for joining us yet again for another Car Dealer Live where we talk to people right across the industry. Now on today's show, I am delighted to say we have got Peter Quinn from Emerald House of Cars on the show. Hello, Peter.
How are you, James?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Pleasure to have you on. Now, I'm not going to give too much away in the intro because I want Peter to describe the business, but just to give you a brief overview of who we're speaking to. Now, Peter is CEO of Emerald House of Cars, a business he and his brother founded in 2013. Now, Emerald Cars is based in Wednesbury in the West Midlands, and they're easily one of the most colourful businesses in the industry. They're also award-winning, scooping the Best Newcomer of the Year award at our very own used car awards back in 2018, when things were rather more normal and fun, it's fair to say. Now, I've got plenty of questions to ask Peter in the next 20-25 minutes or so. If you've got anything to ask, do drop it into the comments box and I'll do my best to ask it to him. But right, let's get cracking, Peter. Now, I've tried to put on a bit of a green shirt here, a bit of a green stripe. It's the closest I can get.
That is not green.
There's a bit of a green stripe, I promise you.
Into green. We like to go a bit more vibrant ourselves, you know, a nice good shade of green.
Yeah.
You know, always you say we're a colourful dealership. We try to stick to one colour though, and anything green goes, but
anything green. Well, that's brilliant.
Appreciate the effort, James, you know.
Yeah, well, one thing I did want to ask you is I've seen on your Instagram feed and various photographs of yourself wearing a green sequined blazer. Now, would you, before we get into the serious questions, would you just like to cover that off at the beginning? Why?
Oh, why?
It just makes you different, I suppose, doesn't it?
I've had it for that long now. I can't even remember the reason why or where it come out of. But I think the behind all of it, in a sea of so many businesses out there effectively selling the same product, albeit just a different quality and price points, you have to stand out, and I think one of the things that we've always tried to do is just be eye-catching. And some of it, yes, it's gimmicky, it's a bit novelty, but behind it, what we want to do is catch people's attention, draw them in, and just make them sort of inquisitive and curious about what's that there, and sort of behind that is a professional business that shows love to their customers, and we sort of bring them in with a gimmick and make them fall in love with the brand, just because of how we are to people.
Yeah, and some may say, like you just said there, some may say it gimmicky, but it's proved to be popular for you, and customers, they like to have a hook. They like to be part of something a little bit different, don't they? There are plenty of customers who want to go to a manufacturer showroom because it's all black and glossy and chrome and everything and very sanitized. But there are plenty of people out there who just want something a bit different, don't they?
I think people are fed up of sort of the traditional, sort of stiff
gin palaces. Yeah,
I think they're always refreshed when they come and meet us, and the majority of people that come to us they haven't enjoyed the last experience that they had buying their previous car. So we try and make it fun, we make it relaxed. We've got beers in the fridge for people, not that we encourage drink driving or anything, but
zero alcohol, I hope. Yeah.
For the passengers.
Well saved.
We do what we can to make people feel at ease, and it's a different experience totally. I mean, we actually have had people come in here sort of 4 or 5 times before buying the car, just because they enjoy the company in here, they enjoy the relaxed atmosphere, they get on like a house on fire with the sales team, and they come back more than they need to come back because they enjoy being there. And sort of when they've bought the car, they're sad that that it's, I wouldn't say that it's over, but they've had such a good time with us, that you know, it's certainly a different offering we give people.
Yeah. So what's the size of the business? I mean, how many people have you got working for you? You know, what's the scale of the business?
Prior to COVID, we were probably in the 40s in terms of number of staff. We had expanded so many times over the past say sort of 5 years that we've been on this site. We've opened we opened a workshop a couple of years ago. We expanded that probably 3 times. We're up to like a 16 bay workshop now.
Wow.
Shop, and you know, we're doing sort of a lot of the, we're operating pretty much like a main dealer in terms of the services that we offer. We'd also invested heavily into finance brokerage prior to this as well. So we were doing Lucky Charm car finance, and again the sort of fun, different sort of offering to everything else that's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing pretty well prior to this, and obviously, like every business, it's had a huge impact, and we've had to sort of scale back what we were doing. But, you know, we were probably I think this year we were probably projecting turnover of about 12 million. So we were ever increasing. I think we also just inches away from signing up, and you know, probably happened at the right time. Very, very close to signing for an additional 140 car site. So,
wow,
you know, that's had to be shelved. And everything that we were doing prior to that was sort of gearing up with the infrastructure of the business and making sure that we could actually cope with that level of pace.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's been a very interesting time.
Yeah, well, we'll come on to coronavirus and lockdown in a minute. I'm sort of delaying the negative news. I want to sort of keep things a little bit happy. So just take me back 7 years to 2013, when you and your brother started the business. What sort of got you into the car industry? And you know, what was the idea behind the business?
Like a lot of people, we probably fell into this by accident. My background was in construction. I was a quantity surveyor, and we started this part time just because we liked you know, we liked driving nice cars. So we started buying, and we were buying and selling a few cars that we wanted to drive, and it sort of just, I don't know, went out of control, I suppose. We realised that. I think it was probably about 2015 that we actually got the premises and decided to take the leap of faith. So yeah, once we got the premises, we then it just turned into a steam train that we couldn't stop, and I just loved everything, all of the learning process, and I just really enjoyed it because it was. And we knew nothing. We had never worked. We'd never sold cars before. We'd never worked for a main dealer. Never, you know, pretty much. So everything that we learned, the whole journey was a whole learning journey, and it still is today. We're still learning every single day. But yeah, just kind of snowballed and escalated. But I think the real turning point was when the customers were coming to us, and there wasn't an awful lot of customers coming to us that had a good experience in the past. So I was trying to figure out why has no one had a good experience buying their last car. So we sort of we got on well with people, and I suppose it was the Irish hospitality that we're so accustomed to, and it was, yeah, we just found it really easy to do a good job. And I thought, well, if it's this easy, why is everyone having such a bad experience buying their previous car? So we just found that it was really, really easy to do a good job, and sort of just founded the whole business on the whole experience of the customer and doing it right. And they always come back. So, you know, we're doing smaller numbers when we first started. Obviously that was grown and word of mouth, and we've always been done very well on repeat and referral businesses. So yeah, it was found it pretty easy to grow like that.
Yeah. So why do you think it is that customers they're going to other dealers and they're not enjoying the experience? I mean, what they're saying there is this sort of stereotypical view of the motor trade, that it's very hostile, it's not very friendly, and perhaps dealers they're a little bit lazy, or they're not. Perhaps their customer service is not up to scratch. Why do you think the motor trade wrongly has got this view amongst the wider public?
I think it's because of their previous experience, and just the fact that there's so much information out there now on the internet, social media. So if people do have bad experiences, it's so easy to share it. Now, I'm definitely not saying that there aren't people out there doing a good job, because there are. The people that I associate myself with, they do a fantastic job, and they are focused on the customer experience. We've sort of just gone OTT with it, and make sure the customer is at the heart. One of the things that we started doing probably 2-3 years ago was trying to make sure that the customer has had the best experience that they've ever had buying anything, and those are the experiences that people are going to remember, and that's why we're so OTT on it. But yeah, I think there are a lot of places out there that aren't doing a good job, and that don't. They have profit ahead of the customer, which that's okay for their shareholders, of course, but it's not okay for the customer who's not having a great experience. And there's we're definitely not going to start name dropping, but there's some bigger places quite close to us that make it very easy for us for a customer to remember us, and that certainly after they've been to those type of places, they'll never go back there again. And we look after a customer properly once, and they'll always come back. So we're not looking at the one-time value of the customer. We want to do the job properly, show them love, build a relationship that's going to last for 20 years. So they always come back to us. They service their car with us, MOTs, everything like that. And for us, it's all about the lifetime value of the customer, not the single single transaction, trying to get as much out of the customer in one go as possible. Yeah.
I must say, it's very refreshing to see. And I've been scrolling through your Instagram, I've been on your YouTube channel, and it's very refreshing to see a dealer embracing all these kinds of avenues of communication, which are open to everybody these days, but not everybody uses to their best advantage, really. You clearly think differently, and you're using all these tools in a fun and engaging way.
Yeah, it's the thing that I've always loved. I'm passionate about showcasing what we do, sort of behind the scenes look. And we were early to start using Instagram for business, and we probably used that for the past probably 4 years. We're very, very quick to jump on that, start doing the stories and showing what goes on behind the scenes. But I just feel it's a lot easier to build the trust. And in this business, people are spending the most amount of money that they're going to spend aside from a house purchase. So it's important that they see who they're dealing with, and they feel like they can trust them. And I firmly believe that trust can be built across social channels such as YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and it's when people come. I've literally had a customer walk in, see one of the girls that they've been watching all the time, and because they'd seen them so much on social media, they're coming in waving, and they've run over and give them a hug. back when hugging was allowed.
When it was allowed, yeah.
We use those platforms to showcase what we do, to build trust, and we find that people become engaged with the brand, and I've had other people that they eventually come and buy a car, and they tell us they've been following us on social media for the last 2 years, and sort of they've known that they weren't ready to buy a car, but you know, when the time did come, we were the first ones that they're coming to. It's definitely a long game. It's not always an instant win on social, but it's certainly a long game, and it's just fantastic for building trust.
Yeah. And also, I suppose it's quite sort of good to actually engage with a younger generation, because something for dealers moving forwards, in, you know, out of coronavirus, but also in the long-term future, trying to engage with a younger audience who, as we know, aren't particularly as turned on by cars as perhaps you and I are, or definitely our, you know, our parents' generation, trying to get them interested in cars, and interested in the buying process is really important, and will continue to be, won't it?
Yeah, I definitely think the ability to touch the younger generation is out there, certainly on Instagram. Facebook is got an older demographic, but again, it's just being able to reach more people and to get more people aware of what we're doing, and that's why we do sort of the things that are a little bit different and a little bit weird and wacky. It's just, again, to grab that attention of, you know, there's people scrolling down their newsfeed, and it's very difficult to get people's attention, and to sort of keep their attention, to keep them engaged. So that's why we try and do everything just a little bit different to what else, to the norm, to what's out there.
Yeah, yeah. On your YouTube channel, I've seen that you've been doing some, and on your website as well, some things with Teen Jeebies Joel Fearon, haven't you?
Yes.
So how did that come about? And well, just tell us a little bit more about it.
Again, it's the exact same thing. Instagram, and being so far out there, we caught Joel's attention. So Joel's, you know, obviously had a look at our online offering, our social media platforms, and he just really liked what we were all about, and yeah, it's a fantastic relationship since we've been you know, working with Joel, and he's just a really incredible guy. He's so inspiring. He does a lot of work with young kids, which again we just love that. He does loads of community work. He's just a really good, humble guy, and he's just a car nut. He loves, you know, he's a real motorhead. So it's been fantastic working with him. And again, I think it just adds to the you know, the transparency of what we're doing, and because he reviews it from the car reviews that he does them all very honest, and even, you know, he doesn't like things, so he does it from a very unbiased point of view, which sometimes I'm like, oh no, Joel, you didn't just say that about the car. But he's, you know, it's nice that it's transparent, and it's yeah, it's been really nice working with Joel.
Yeah.
And I think it's just come about. He fell in love with the Emerald brand, and sort of he liked the charm that we offer.
Good. Well, you know, it's that trust sort of bit you were just saying there. I mean, even if he does highlight things that he doesn't like, you know, people are intelligent enough just to understand that that's his own viewpoint, and you know, they're still going to be interested in the car. They're still going to be interested in the Emerald brand, aren't they? So, you know, it doesn't really matter if he speaks his own mind, and if he does, it just shows that it's a genuine review, doesn't it?
Well, again, it adds weight, the fact that he's a double Olympian, Olympic medal winner, and it's the trust is there because he's a known face on social media. They can look him up, and I love that how enthusiastic he is. If he likes something, then, you know, everyone knows that he likes it, and he gets really excited about it, and his passion shows through. So it's been it's been really nice working with Joel.
Have you sold him a car yet?
No, He hasn't found one that he likes enough, I don't think. He was very fond of the M4 that he reviews last, but
Yeah.
unfortunately that went to a new home.
Right, let's just talk about coronavirus and how you've been coping with it during lockdown. I mean, what was business like?
It's probably been the toughest thing that we've ever experienced and we will ever experience, and it's been a massive lesson in sort of how to cope in a crisis. Businesses, we really can't complain. We didn't think it would bounce back as strong as it has. We try to remain as in motion as we could. We put a lot of focus on the service, the workshop side of the business, whilst we were unable to sell the cars at the start. We just focused everything on the workshop, which obviously was still allowed to stay open. We just thought, what can we do if our hands are tied in terms of being able to trade as normal. So we just looked at different things, and we started doing a lot of free work for the NHS, and we just tried to focus more on doing some community work. And our outreach program that we've done, the staff that were furloughed, they come back in and they were doing food deliveries for the homeless. We teamed up with a local CAF, and we got those guys. We were trying to raise some money, keep the food deliveries going, doing meals to the vulnerable, to the elderly. We've done meals down to the local hospitals. We were doing collection and deliveries for the hospital cars, and sort of doing huge discounts and other services for free. So it's allowed us to spend the time on the workshop side of things, and we've certainly built up the reputation and built up the social media side of things for the workshop really well. Yeah. One of the other things that we've done, we decided that we would do a car giveaway. So we've done a car giveaway, and we had so many nominations for people that were deserving to for the free car. And we were trying to carefully pick someone that really needed it. And we found a midwife that was commuting. She was doing like a 4-hour commute daily from Leicester on public transport, and she I think she got a bus, then a coach, then another bus to a hotel. That she stayed in a hotel and got another 2 buses to work then, and she was mixing it with trains and stuff like that. So one of her colleagues nominated her, and we went down and surprised her down at Heartlands Hospital. Done a big unveiling of the car. It wasn't something amazing, but it was something to her that meant the world, and that meant that she would be able to get to work a lot easier. And we just wanted to do something nice. And again, there's so much negativity in news, in social media. We've tried to keep it positive and just do something, do something that benefits someone else. Yeah. So that was really good, and we got some. I think the video itself got about 30,000 views on Facebook. We got I think we got about 5 features in local newspapers and publications. So it was good. It was good that we'd done something good, and it was nice to have a get a bit of sort of no, I wouldn't say notoriety, but a bit of exposure for the service centre for looking after people and doing the right things. Yeah. No, I think you're being very modest. I think that's a fascinating thing, and a wonderful thing to do. I talked to many dealers, and they during lockdown they've had different ways of dealing with the virus. Some have been shut up shop. Have had to. It's an enforced 3-4 week holiday. Others are saying that the phone's been ringing off the hook. It's been pretty much like normal. But what you were doing there to help somebody in the community, and
is just fantastic. So, you know, a hat tip to you. I think that's just fantastic. There we are. Unfortunately, I haven't got a hat as good as that to actually tip you with.
You know, what could we do? We were in the midst of a crisis. People were shutting up shop, and I'm used to working 7 days a week, and I wouldn't have known what to do if I had to, you know, go and sit at home for 3 months. So we just tried to do what we can. We thought, you know, we can keep the workshop open. We can offer some free services. People will remember that. You know, after all of this, they'll remember who's been there and tried to help, and especially companies as well. I think companies that have tried to help people throughout this and try to accommodate people in a bad situation.
Yeah,
it'll always be remembered.
Definitely. We've just had a question come in on YouTube, actually, from Paul Guy, who says, how does Peter find FCA compliance as an independent dealer in the socially distanced world of click and collect and home deliveries? Has that been a challenge?
That's a great question from Paul Guy. Yes, it certainly, we've had to adapt the business, what we were doing. Distance selling regulations come into play a hell of a lot more, and we were doing lots of, you know, we were always geared up for home delivery, but certainly from an FCA point of view, it's brought new challenges into play. Thankfully, we were well poised with a very, very good compliance company, who were able to, I wouldn't say preempt this, but we already had everything covered and everything in place to make sure that we were compliant. And sort of the likes of Automotive Compliance, Paul Guy's company, and Logistics as well have been very good. We've worked with both of those guys prior to this, and they've been superb. And talking about companies that have, you know, been there to support each other, and that's the way that I think it should have been. You know, companies, sort of Click Dealer as well, they've been pretty good. You know, offering support packages and things like that. So they've been very supportive and making sure that everyone had their, you know, backs covered from a compliance point of view, from a legal point of view, and sort of let us having the likes of those guys to fall back on, allows us to focus on our job, which is delivering a great customer experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been really good to work with the likes of Paul. So Paul certainly has been there for anything that we wanted to ask from a compliance point of view, and making sure that everything is as it should be.
Good to hear. Just would like to touch on the subject of used cars. And have you had any difficulties getting stock at the moment, or, you know, what are you seeing in the marketplace?
Well, we haven't purchased a single vehicle since lockdown started through our traditional sources. So yes, it's been very difficult. One of the things that we've decided to do because of this is to sort of diversify our stock portfolio, and sort of it's been great because it's allowed us to do a factory reset, having a little bit of time to actually look at the business, look at how we're geared, and look at all the finances behind all of that. It's allowed us to reevaluate everything and certainly restructure the business to what we think is going to be the demand moving forward. Certainly with the finance companies, they've all been, well, it's been very, very, I won't say very difficult, but it has been very challenging to get finance in place for customers. Some companies, you know, we understand that the situation and the reasons behind it. So it has been very difficult. We're looking at what we anticipate to be the future problems and future demands, I do think it's going to be a little bit harder for customers to gain finance. So we're gearing the business to anticipate those problems, and the stock that we're now looking to, but we've certainly offered, built up another side of the business that's doing a much more affordable sort of stock than what we were used to doing. And yeah, it's been very difficult. We've obviously been looking at the normal methods through the auctions, and the prices are going crazy in there. But again, it's allowed us to reevaluate what we were doing and the way we were procuring the cars. And now we've built up an alternative platform and an alternative method of procurement that we believe now is going to help us to buy a better quality of stock, with a lower sort of timescale to be prepared, and ultimately, hopefully, at a better price point.
Mm.
So it's been a challenge.
Yeah, and most dealers who I'm talking to are all saying it's a challenge, and it's going to be fascinating to see how that plays out through the rest of the year, really. Finally, Peter, just I do like to ask this question, and it is, if you could go back 7 years to when you started the business, and you could give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Hold on tight. Hold on tight. It's 7 years. Wow, what a learning experience it's been. It's been an absolute roller coaster ride. I probably wouldn't change anything. If I knew a lot more, or had a sort of mentor earlier on in the business, we probably would have got a lot further faster. But it's been an enjoyable, challenging, developed loads. You know, had to become a better leader sort of every day. We're finding new challenges. Got to be able to become a much better problem solver. And it's been. Would I go back and do it again, knowing what I know now? I don't know, but it's a very difficult industry to come in and do a good job. It's easy to it's that to come in as a used car dealer and do a really good job, because it's just so challenging. You know, it's a high value item that inevitably is definitely going to go wrong at some point. Yeah. So it's, you know, what I've learned about customer experience and you know, dealing with problems, not so much from a customer point of view, but you've also got staffing, and it's difficult to run a team at high volume, and keep all the plates spinning in one go. So it's just been an incredible roller coaster ride over the last 7 years.
Wonderful. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Pete. We're gonna have to leave it there, I'm afraid. But it's been a delight finding out more about the business, and I do wish you the best of luck for the rest of the year.
No, it's been a pleasure, to be honest. It's been a real honour, and I have been enjoying these so much. Like I said to you before, it's just been a real good insight into the minds of the people that you know, lead in the industry. There's been some fantastic guests. I've really enjoyed watching all of them, and you sort of, it's difficult to you know, have those sort of encounters. It's not something that you're easily accessible to.
Yeah.
So it's been great you guys you've really gone into overdrive, Car Dealer Mag. You've done a phenomenal job. Been the play-by-play, you know, for what's going on. You've been omnipresent, the lives. You guys have been all over it, and you've done an absolutely fantastic job. So, you know, congratulations to you guys as well for doing such a fantastic job through this. There were other automotive publications prior to COVID, but I think the only name that people will remember throughout this is Car Dealer Magazine. You guys have done fantastic.
Well, that's incredibly kind of you. There has been a huge amount of work from our side. You know, I left Car Dealer magazine in 2014, but I've been brought back in to try and help out, because website traffic has gone absolutely through the roof. And one of the reasons, and one of the things we've tried to do throughout this period is to do these lives and get people talking and to bring everybody together, because what's happened during the motor industry at the moment is very tough. So it's great to hear that you're enjoying it, and hopefully everybody else is as well. So
you guys you've done it. You've brought the industry together. So well done, well done.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much indeed. On tomorrow's show, hopefully people will be joining in for this one, because it's going to be pretty good actually. We've got Sofa 3, we've got Scott Gaines joining us, who's going to be giving us some unique and exclusive data of new and used cars, and giving us the latest trends as well. So don't miss that. That will be very interesting to watch. If you want to get involved in shows like this, please do get in touch with us. james.batchelor@blackballmedia.co.uk. That's my email address, or you can email James Baggett, james@blackballmedia.co.uk. And if you want some breaking news sent to your phone, please do join our WhatsApp groups. Get in touch with us for the links to those. Which just leaves me to say thank you very much to Peter with his hat on. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. Thanks again, Peter. Thanks everyone to watching at home and at work, and see you tomorrow. Thanks.